Hey everyone, welcome back to Mindful English. I'm Sera, and I'm sitting here with Liam.
Hey everyone, good to be here.
Liam, today we are taking the concept of atomic habits and applying it to the exact reason our listeners tune in every week, improving their English.
And this is personal for you, isn't it?
It really is. A few years ago, when I decided I wanted to learn conversational Spanish, I did what everyone does. I bought 3 thick grammar books, downloaded 4 different apps, and promised myself I would study for 2 solid hours every single night after work.
I think we have all made that exact same promise. And how long did that routine actually last?
It lasted exactly 4 days. By Friday, I was exhausted. I looked at those heavy grammar books and I just couldn't do it. I had completely bit off more than I could chew.
And here's what we're doing today. Sarah's going to tell you exactly how she broke out of that cycle. By the end, you'll know the 4 micro habits that actually worked: changing your phone language, passive listening on your commute, 1-minute reading, and micro-speaking. More importantly, you'll learn phrases like bite off more than you can chew, scale back, stumble over, and brush off. Because this isn't about studying harder, it's about building tiny habits that compound into fluency.
Let's talk about how to stop fighting the language and just let it live with you.
So you made this massive promise to yourself, 2 hours every night, and by Friday, you crashed. What happened after that?
The worst part was the guilt. Because I missed 1 day, I felt like I was already falling behind. And I convinced myself I would never be able to catch up.
That guilt is so paralyzing. It makes you want to quit entirely. So, how did you break out of that cycle?
I realized that intensity was my enemy. Consistency was the only way forward. I had to completely start from scratch and heavily scale back my expectations.
Scale back, to reduce the size or amount of something. So what did that actually look like?
I realized that fluency doesn't come from massive, painful study sessions. It really just boils down to microscopic, daily exposures to the language. I needed atomic habits.
So instead of adding 2 hours of work to your day, what did you actually do?
I started finding ways to seamlessly incorporate the language into the things I was already doing. Habit number 1 was digital. I changed the operating language on my phone and my social media accounts to Spanish. I was going to look at my phone anyway, so I forced my brain to process those tiny menus and notifications in my target language.
That is brilliant because it requires 0 extra time. What was the next habit?
Habit number 2 was taking advantage of my commute. Instead of listening to music on the train, I switched to passive listening. I put on a Spanish podcast. Now, at first, it was too fast, and I would often tune out and let my mind wander. But I didn't get angry at myself. I just kept playing it.
Your brain was doing the work in the background. You were getting comfortable with the melody of the language.
Exactly. And slowly, my ears started to pick up on the natural rhythm and intonation of the speakers.
Habit number 3. I'm guessing this is where you start actively engaging with the language?
Yes, but I kept it incredibly short. The 1-minute reading rule. While I drank my morning coffee, I would read exactly 1 paragraph of a news article. If I saw a word I didn't know, I would look up the definition and quickly jot down the whole sentence in a small notebook. Not 50 words, just 1 or 2.
That takes all the pressure off. And what about speaking? Because that is the scariest part for most language learners.
That was habit number 4, micro-speaking. I started narrating my daily chores out loud to an empty room. While I was washing the dishes, I would describe what I was doing in Spanish. Of course, I would constantly stumble over my pronunciation and forget basic vocabulary.
Stumble over. To hesitate, make mistakes, or get tangled up in the words. But because no one was listening, you could just
Brush off the mistakes and keep talking.
Brush off. Like brushing dirt off your jacket. You don't let the mistake ruin your day.
Exactly. You removed the fear of judgment. I was building the physical muscle of speaking without the social anxiety.
So you have these 4 tiny habits: digital immersion, passive listening, 1-minute reading, micro-speaking. When did you start to notice results?
The magic of this approach is that it felt so easy, it was almost impossible to fail. I didn't need motivation. I just needed to stick with it. Month after month, those tiny 5-minute habits started to compound.
What does that actually feel like? When did you realize it was working?
I began to build up a massive vocabulary without even realizing it. The translations in my head got faster, and eventually, forming a sentence started to become second nature.
Second nature. Something that becomes so automatic you don't even think about it anymore.
Exactly. And that is the point I want to make for our listeners today. If you are exhausted by your English studies, stop trying to climb the whole mountain in one day. Lower the bar. Do less, but do it every single day.
Those tiny, atomic actions make a world of difference.
You aren't just learning a language, you are building the identity of a lifelong learner.
You stop fighting the language and you just let it live with you.
Let's look at the key phrases that came up naturally in that story. Liam, which one stood out to you?
The phrase that really set the stage for your whole story was when you said you bit off more than you could chew.
To bite off more than you can chew. It means taking on a project or a goal that is way too big for you to handle right now. If you are feeling overwhelmed at work or in your studies, it is incredibly self-aware to say, I think I bit off more than I could chew. I need to rethink my schedule.
And the solution to that problem was scale back. When you realized your study plan was too big, you had to scale back your expectations.
It means to reduce the size or amount of something. We don't have enough budget, so we need to scale back the marketing campaign. It isn't quitting, it's just adjusting to reality.
Another phrase that is crucial for language learning is stumble over. You talked about how you would stumble over your pronunciation when you practiced speaking.
It's such a comforting phrase because it normalizes the struggle. To stumble over your words just means you are hesitating, making mistakes, or getting tangled up in the grammar. When you are nervous in a meeting, you might say, "Excuse me, I'm stumbling over my words today. Let me start again."
And when you do stumble, you have to use our final phrase, brush off. You had to brush off the mistakes and keep going.
You refuse to let it upset you. He made a rude comment, but I just brushed it off. It is the ultimate sign of confidence.
So we have bite off more than you can chew, scale back, stumble over, and brush off. And if you want more expressions for talking about learning habits and personal growth, check the pinned comment below.
Thank you so much for letting me share my language journey with you today. Remember, fluency isn't a magical switch you flip. It's a house you build, brick by tiny brick.
Just focus on laying one perfect brick today.
So here's my challenge for you. Pick just one atomic habit from today. Will you change your phone's language? Read one paragraph with your morning coffee? Narrate your commute in English?
And then tell us in the comments, which habit are you choosing and what time tomorrow will you do it?
We genuinely want to know. And if this episode helped you see that you don't need 2-hour study sessions to make progress, if it gave you permission to lower the bar and just show up consistently, share it with someone who's feeling burned out by their English studies.
Because the truth is, we've all bitten off more than we can chew at some point. But we've also all discovered that tiny habits compound into transformation.
You don't need to fight the language. Just let it live with you, 1 minute at a time.
Take care, everyone. Keep going.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.